have this opportunity, I would like to take a moment because I think it's important to applaud members of this campus community. I want to commend the students, most of who were thrust into a learning environment far outside what they were used to. They worked hard and succeeded while navigating academic realities that were continually shifting beneath their feet, all while contending with similar upheavals at work and home. Well done. I want to commend the staff. Even before the pandemic, the staff were working exceptionally hard to keep the campus running smoothly, oftentimes with few resources. For over a year, the staff have heroically scrambled under very trying conditions to meet the unpredictable and ever-changing needs of this campus. They have done and continue to do an outstanding job. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to commend the faculty who had to very quickly adapt their curricula to the online environment, oftentimes with little experience in how to do that. It was a difficult task, especially so for performance art, lab, and field experience courses. Through hard work, resourcefulness, and ingenuity, the faculty continued to deliver quality instruction. Being forced to try new and creative ways to teach has led to the development of some innovative curricula and made the faculty, in my opinion, stronger than ever. One faculty member I'd like to single out and personally thank is Dr. Tracy Hamilton, my predecessor. As the Senate chairperson last year, Dr. Hamilton spent countless hours working with faculty, staff, student representatives, and administrators to help plot a path forward so that the campus could continue to deliver quality instruction safely, all while still getting the normal business of the Faculty Senate done. She is one of the unsung heroes of our campus's response to this global pandemic. Thank you, Dr. Hamilton. Finally, I would like to commend the administrators. They have been ceaselessly working to provide as much stability as possible during more than a year of uncertainty. They have done their absolute best to provide us answers, despite having limited information and guidance from the governor, the chancellor's office, and health agencies. Information and guidance that often changes or is even contradicted hours later. The president claims he suffers from chronic whiplash, and I believe him. From turning to parking garages into Wi-Fi hotspots, to upgrading all classrooms with microphones, to moving most forms online, to a whole lot of other work that I don't have time to list, all of the administrative offices have really come through. Please know that your efforts are greatly appreciated. I'm truly grateful to be part of this Hornet family. Yes, things have been rough, but I think not as rough as they could have been, because so many people making an extra effort to be patient, polite, and kind, especially the students I've interacted with. Individually, we've all continued to face challenges, both on campus and off. Lots of projects that were put on the back burner while we dealt with the pandemic are now having to be dealt with. So I hope we continue to be polite, patient, and kind to each other. By the way, you all look fantastic. All of us, both individually and collectively, have accomplished some extraordinary things, and I am confident we will continue to do so. And now it is my privilege to introduce a man who I greatly respect for his passion and commitment to Sac State, its faculty, its staff, and especially its students, the president of Sac State, Dr. Robert Nelson.
May we have a moment of silence for all whom we have lost from this horrific virus, COVID-19, and for the terrible destruction and loss of property life, and beauty from climate change and fires, most notably the Dixie Fire, and most recently, the Caldor Fire. Thank you. Forgive me, but some of you will remember my referencing Bruce Springsteen in this year's spring address. It seems so long ago. Please indulge me again. I think that we need to hear the boss's lyrics now more than ever. Can't see nothing in front of me. Can't see nothing coming up behind. Make my way through the darkness. I can't feel nothing but this chain that binds me. Lost track of how far I've gone, how far and high I've climbed. Bruce Springsteen's anthem to 9/11, to a firefighter, a first responder, climbing the stairs in one of the World Trade Center's towers, has taken on new meaning in the last 20 years since the planes crashed into those towers and since we have suffered through a global pandemic. 2,977 people were killed that day. 6,000 more were injured. Over 250 million cases of COVID-19 infections have been reported. 36.5 million cases in the US, 4 million here in California. 4.3 million deaths worldwide. 618 deaths in the US. 64,000 deaths in California. On September 11th, we will play football against University of North Iowa. At halftime, we will honor and celebrate the first responders who climbed those stairs. And we will celebrate and honor all the first responders who have done so much to save lives and to comfort those who have been left behind. Sky of blackness and sorrow a dream of life. Sky of love, sky of tears, a dream of life. Sky of glory and sadness, a dream of life. Sky of fullness, sky of blessed, a dream of life. Come up for the rising. When we celebrate the first responders at halftime, we will be celebrating you, all of you in the room, and all of you who are watching the live stream. For you are the first responders. You are our heroes, our Hornet heroes. To the groundskeepers, custodians, tradespersons, and police who have showed up every day throughout this pandemic to take care of our beautiful campus, we salute and thank you. To the Student Health Center, to our nursing faculty and nursing students who administered over 22,000 shots in our vaccination clinic. We salute you. And thank you. To Information Resources and Technology, who gave out over 1,800 laptops, 1,600 hotspots, and 475 webcams. We salute and thank you. To the faculty and staff who never gave up, who refused to let a pandemic beat them, who helped graduate 9,099 students in May. We salute. And we thank you. To the football players who will be playing on September 11th, who are 100% fully vaccinated. And to all of the athletes in the fall sports, all of whom are 100% vaccinated, including volleyball and men's and women's soccer, we salute and thank you. And we will be at your games to support you, to cheer you on. Yes, football is back. But so are dance and theater, and let's not forget concerts and music. Come on up for the rising. I wish you could have heard the song. This fall, 46% of the sections for our classes will have a face-to-face component. 54% of the sections will be online. 61% of our students will be enrolled in at least one class with a face-to-face component. Only 39% of the students will have fully online classes. All in all, as of last week, the fall 2021 headcount was 31,470 students, 107 more than the same time last year. We expect the enrollment to be within 100 more students or 100 less students once everything settles around the fall census. In the North Village residence halls here on campus, we anticipate that there will be 2,000 students, or 96% capacity. In the new Hornet Commons, where the McAuliffe ball fields were, we expect that there will be 556 students living there, 50% occupancy. There are 1,100 beds available. I'm quite certain that the occupancy will rise dramatically when the students learn that the complex is pet-friendly. There's a first-rate fitness center. There's a basketball court, a swimming pool, a beach volleyball court, and you have your own washer and dryer that you can run on your phone in your apartment. Finally, the Upper East Side Loft behind Dos Coyotes on Folsom will be 76% occupied with 307 students. Yes, we are coming back. When the students and faculty arrive on campus, thanks to information, resources, and technology, and facilities management, they will come to 450 classrooms that have been renovated and have new technology. The classrooms have new projectors, new screens, sometimes up to 2 screens, new docking stations, new microphones, new document readers, and more. We finally have a technology-ready campus that everyone will be coming back to. And for those of you who are old-fashioned like me, there are even new whiteboards, thanks to the federal CARES and HERF monies. I'll speak later about how we've used the CARES and HERF funding, but we've invested much of the institutional portion into the infrastructure, including new HVAC and air filtration to make the campus safe for your return. Students are uploading documentation daily regarding their vaccination status, and we will be cross-checking their documentation against a state database. So far, 95% of the students who have attested are fully vaccinated. The vaccination clinic on campus continues to operate 2 days a week and is administering close to 200 vaccines a week to the students. For students who are symptomatic, the Student Health Center will provide free testing. Any student who claims a medical or a religious exemption and who plans to access campus, even if they're only coming to this student union or the library, must test twice weekly. For those students who are not accessing the campus, the Student Health Center will continue to provide health and counseling services via telehealth. If a student does test positive for COVID-19, the Student Health Center will provide instruction for isolation and quarantine and will follow their normal protocols for notifying faculty, staff, and students of any potential risk, as they always do for tuberculosis, meningitis, or other reportable diseases. As everyone knows by now, the CSU system has issued a new mandatory vaccination policy. That policy is immediately in effect and requires that everyone, students, faculty, staff, and administrators attest, one, that they have been fully vaccinated, or two, that they are claiming a medical exemption from the vaccination, or three, that they're claiming a religious exemption from the vaccination, or four, that they will not, under any circumstance, access campus this coming semester. Those students and individuals who declare medical and religious exemptions will be required to test twice weekly. The declarations must be entered into the system by September 13th. We chose September 13th because that date allowed everyone to be fully vaccinated with either the Pfizer or the J&J vaccine, whichever they preferred. However, and this however is however with all caps, this mandatory vaccination policy is in the meet and confer process with the unions at the system level in Long Beach. While the policy is immediately in effect, no representative employee can be disciplined for not attesting to their vaccination status by September 13th. And no representative employee with an exemption can be required to test twice weekly until the meet and confer process has been completed. Please let me repeat, not until the meet and confer process has ended can represented employees be required to be tested or be denied access to the campus. On the other hand, under the new policy, as of September 13th, both students and administrators can be disciplined for not being vaccinated if they do not certify that they qualify for a medical or a religious exemption. And starting September 13th, both students and administrators who have declared a medical or religious exemption will be required to be tested twice weekly, or they will be denied access to campus and access to any university programs, including internships, field experiences, athletic or sport competitions, and university events. I know that the inability to require represented employees to be vaccinated or be tested twice weekly is causing some consternation among many individuals who will be on campus. But we must respect the right of the unions to meet and confer regarding working conditions, and I will do so. The efficacy of the vaccines is not in doubt. They are the best way to keep the Hornet family safe. Please note that there is no exception for opposing or not believing in vaccinations. Once the meet and confer process is executed, there will not be exemptions for students, faculty, or staff who simply do not want to be vaccinated. Our real mandate is to keep our campus safe for everyone, including the squirrels, the turkeys, and the coyotes. As a secondary measure to keep the campus safe, until the pandemic is declared over, all students, staff, faculty, and administrators as well as anyone entering any Sac State building, will be required to wear a mask in all public spaces, including hallways, restrooms, gyms, conference rooms, etc. Only when eating or drinking may the mask come off indoors, unless you are alone in your private office. I am sorry for strict measures, but the pandemic and the delay in executing an agreed upon policy dictates that we do so. As I said, our goal is safety. The goal is not to be a for-profit online university. We believe in education. We believe in meeting our students face to face. We believe in keeping our custodians, our groundskeepers, our tradespersons safe. Someone on our campus who has to be here to process paperwork deserves to be as safe as someone who is taking a class that requires hands-on work, or someone who needs to see an advisor because of a disability and accommodations. Given that there will be on-campus represented employees who have not been vaccinated, and given that exposure may occur at the grocery store or at a restaurant, free testing kits will be available for faculty, staff, and students who are concerned about exposure or about transmitting the virus to their families. These kits will be available even after the meet and confer process has been completed. In the meantime, for non-represented employees and students who have declared an exemption, a testing station will be established on the first floor of the parking garage PS3. The test will be free and will take only 15 minutes, though I would expect that you'll need to allot 30 minutes. If anyone tests positive, they will be asked to consult with their medical provider and will be denied access to the campus until the medical provider clears them to return to campus. As to whether someone can work from home after testing positive, that determination will be made on a case-by-case basis in consultation with the manager and his or her supervisor, including the vice president. As of last week, 48% of the students and 40% of the faculty have certified their vaccination status. Those numbers are steadily and rapidly growing as people begin to understand that one must certify their vaccination status in order to be on campus, to go to a class, to do research, to go to the library, to get a Starbucks latte. Remember, we have until September 13th for students and administrators to be in compliance with the vaccination policy. Remember, too, that the bulk of the people who will be on campus will be students. Even though some of our representative employees may wait until the meet and confer process is finished to be vaccinated, over 1,700 have already attested to being vaccinated. I truly believe that with the use of masks and common sense, the campus, you and I, will be safe. As I said, we're investing in upgrading the HVAC systems, and we've added outdoor seating. Every building has or will have MERV 13 filtration as recommended by the American Society of Heating and Refrigerating and Air Conditioning Engineers COVID guidance. Accordingly, we are investing $14 million in HERF funds, that's Higher Education Emergency Relief Funds, on HVAC upgrades. We have invested $1.5 million alone in personal protective equipment, and we are investing a little over $4 million in outdoor seating. Just as importantly, we've invested another $15 million in our faculty, $4 million for student assistance, $2.2 million for training to teach online and hybrid, $3.2 million in technology, and $8.1 million for the upgrades of the 450 classrooms that I mentioned earlier. To give refunds to our students, many of them whom lost their jobs during the pandemic, and to make up for the lost revenue because of those refunds, we have allocated $39 million. These funds went to housing, the Upper East Side lofts, and dining services. Because of these funds, students were able to drop their contracts and were refunded their balances. We were able also to restore temporarily with one-time funds the state budget reductions. But the greatest benefits has gone to our students. Initially, with the first federal CARES funding, we gave our students with the highest financial need block grants of $850. Those students who had some need received $400, and those students who didn't fill out the FAFSA received $200. Subsequently, in the spring of 2021, we distributed $875 to each Pell-eligible full-time student, including our undocumented students and our international students who weren't eligible for the federal HERF funds. We had to use lottery funds and other discretionary funds for the undocumented and the international students because we were not eligible to do so under the law. Even part-time students received $500. All in all, students have been awarded $41.5 million so far. That sounds like a lot, but remember, we have 31,000 students, all of whom were enduring a pandemic. Additionally, we were able to allocate $3.2 million for emergency grants for those individuals who are in danger of losing their dream of having a college education. This coming year, we have allocated $52.5 million for block grants for students. These funds are meant for the most needy students, and we will calibrate the grants based on Pell eligibility and estimated family income. We're still in the process of calibrating the awards, but we expect to be able to award up to $900 each semester to students, fall and spring. For full-time students, $900, and up to $700 for part-time students. I'm thrilled about these grants, but I'm also deeply concerned. I don't expect that there will be another HERF bill or any other block grants for our students after this year. We have to double and triple the number of scholarships. And it is up on you and on me to do so. There also won't be additional funds for infrastructure, training, and technology. That is why we're investing so much in HVAC and classroom upgrades. In the future, we will have to reduce expectations and increase other avenues of funding. All of which brings us to this year's budget and then to fundraising. Both stories are good stories. Well, at least the fundraising story is. Last year, as you will remember, we suffered a 10% reduction in our budget. Overall, the CSU system was cut by $299 million. This year, to the surprise of many, that $299 million has been restored. Even more surprising, overall, the state increased the CSU system general fund budget by $550 million, with an additional allocation of $325 million for deferred maintenance. $23.3 million of that $550 million was allocated to Sac State to restore the cut, to fund mandatory costs like health benefits, to fund the graduation initiative, to support basic needs and mental health for our students. Unfortunately, not all of the $23.3 million allocation to Sac State actually came to Sac State. The CSU system clawed back $6.43 million for system-wide priorities. Our actual allocation of new and restored funds is $16.9 million. $10.7 million of the $16.9 restores the cut from last year. So we're really talking about $6.2 million in new dollars. In reality, of the $6.2 million, $1.4 million must go to health benefits. $60,000 for compensation adjustments. $144,000 for maintenance of the Welcome Center. $293,000 for state university grants for our students. In other words, we have $4.3 million more than last year. $2.1 million of that $4.3 million must go to student basic needs and health and mental health. All of which means that we really have $2.2 million. I hate numbers. We have $2.2 million left for the graduation initiative and to implement AB 1460, ethnic studies. Those two initiatives, if fully funded, should be funded at $10.8 million. Because of the clawback by the CSU system and because of increased health premium benefits and compensation costs, we are actually $8.6 million short, or we're of where we would be if we were fully restored and fully funded. 8.6 million short may sound bad, but stop and think about what it would have been like to have been cut again. We were able to restore to the divisions, to the colleges, $11 million to make up for the 10% cut for last year. And we were able to set aside $6.87 million to fund our 5 imperatives: the graduation initiative, the Anchor University initiative, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism, philanthropy, and safety. We are also able to fully and permanently fund the $5.5 million for lecturers that we've been taking from our reserves with ongoing funds. Additionally, we have one-time funds totaling $5.7 million for emergency grants for our low-income students, for faculty professional development, and for the graduation initiative. And we have enough in our reserves to fund $8 million in one-time projects. In the end, after all these numbers, what looks like a bad story is a good story. For the 6th straight year in a row, we will have a balanced budget. Now, on to the other good story: philanthropy and on the rise comprehensive campaign, and to the great accomplishments that we have seen during the pandemic with the 5 imperatives. For the last 5 years, we have dedicated ourselves to these 5 imperatives. Perhaps nowhere have we seen more success with the imperatives than with the On the Rise campaign. Well, maybe other than the graduation initiative. As of the end of this fiscal year, Sacramento raised over $30 million in philanthropic support. University Advancement secured $1 million for improvements to the Hornet Baseball Stadium, $1 million estate gift for the Shannon Science Complex, $42.2 million from Planned Giving Program, and over $7 million in gifts and pledges for the future Sacramento State Placer Center. Even when faced with a pandemic and the challenge of working from home this past year, athletics, student affairs, and each academic college met or exceeded their fundraising goals. We attained the highest annual giving donor and dollars totals in the past 5 years and increased the number of donors giving annually by 44%. People believe in Sac State. For the first time, our annual giving donor retention rate passed 50%. And in this last fiscal year, the Alumni Association transitioned to an inclusive format where all alumni can become members at no cost. Our On the Rise campaign was on an accelerated path before the pandemic hit, and we were preparing to launch the public phase a year early in April 2020. This year, because of the pandemic, we had to pivot twice and ultimately publicly launched the campaign on March 16th, 2021. As of July, as of the end of July, we have reached nearly 96% of our comprehensive campaign by raising approximately $216 million of our $225 million goal. With the gifts that are currently in the queue, we expect to surpass that goal by May of next year. I could not be prouder of University Advancement Team. Last year, I frustrated them when I said that I was asking the entire university to do less with less, but I was asking University Advancement to do more with less. They certainly did more. They certainly outperformed themselves. Where we, as a university, as Hornets, as a whole, are outperforming the nation is with the graduation initiative. I know that we've looked at a lot of numbers today, but let's just look at the numbers. And let's remember that each one of these numbers represents a student who has been transformed by your concerted work. In 2016, our graduation rate for our first year students was 8.8%. This year, it's 26%. 26% of our students graduated in 4 years. That's 188% improvement. Our female students have gone from 10.7% to 30.1%, 181% improvement. You're going to be clapping a lot. Our male students have improved from 6.8% to 20.7%, 205% better. And let's not forget our underrepresented students and our underserved students. Our Pell eligible students were graduating in 4 years at a 5.6% graduation rate. Now they're graduating in 4 years at 23.3% graduation rate, 314% better. And this is the one that shocks me. Our first generation students have improved from 4.7% to 23.5%, an outstanding 396% improvement. Our African American students have been amazing. Their graduation rates have improved from 4.5% to 19.8%, a 344% improvement. Our Asian American students have moved the proverbial needle from 5.5% to 24.8%, 353% better. And our Latinx students have improved from 8.8% graduating in 4 years to 25.3%, 188% better. I could go on with these numbers for our 6-year graduation rate as well. And you would see the same sort of amazing performances. Overall, our 6-year rate has improved from 49% to 57.4%. And our through and to transfer students are graduating at 45.3% as compared to 5 years ago, 27.1%, a 67% improvement. And now, over 79.9% of our transfer students graduate in 4 years. But the statistic that I find most satisfying and most hopeful, especially given our anchor and our anti-racism initiatives, is that underrepresented minority equity gap, what we want to call the opportunity gap, for our 6-year graduation rate is only 4.6%, which is a huge improvement. When our students graduate is not the most important thing. That they graduate, that is what matters. We simply want them to graduate as proud Hornets with a first-rate, as good and almost always better education than they can get here than anywhere else. With the new chancellor, everyone in the CSU system will be focusing on alleviating equality gaps, doing what we have been doing for the last 6 years. All 23 California state universities will be targeting DFW rates, as we have. All 23 California state universities will be implementing integrated direct advising, as we have. All 23 California state universities will be prioritizing course availability, as we have. All 20 California state universities will be launching block scheduling. Yes, everyone will be launching their own version of Hornet launch. To all those Hornet launch be launched, I commend you, and I very deeply, from my heart, thank you. It wasn't easy. You sacrificed so much for our students. You are true first responders. I'm not going to say anything more about the safety imperative. I've talked about it more than enough when talking about the repopulation of the campus. We can and we will be a safe campus. I want to finish by addressing the final two imperatives: community engagement, the Anchor University Initiative, and diversity, equity, and inclusion, the Anti-Racist Initiative. Next year, at this fall address, we will have a strategic plan. The 5 imperatives will be in that plan, but they will be honed and sharpened. Being an anchor university is whom we are. Being an anti-racist university is whom we must become. The numbers that I just cited about the graduation rate are about the community. I highlighted the successes, but at some point, we have to face the reality that many students do not finish in 6 or even 8 years. We have to ask why, and we have to develop plans for constant improvement. The Anchor Institution Initiative and the Anti-Racism and Inclusion Plan directly address our failures. We have not yet fully engaged with the communities from where our students come. We have not fully addressed the racism and bias that our students encounter in our communities and sometimes on our campus. Partnerships. We have to be there in the community, be equal partners with the community. There can be no miracle on J Street unless we are beyond J Street. This year, the Sacramento State Foundation Board gave the Anchor University Council $30,000 for individual grants to improve the pipeline and the lifestyle in the communities surrounding Sacramento State. 8 recipients, 8 teams of faculty, staff, and students are now working in the community. Sacramento's Dreamers Resource Center is working with the Sacramento Family Unity Education and Legal Network to create internships for Sac State students who will be dream builders. Our graduate psychology students will be giving voice to youth psychological well-being in Natomas to combat poverty, racism, ableism, and homophobia. Our nursing students will be partnering with our Sisters House to help heal people who have suffered so much pain from domestic violence and sexual assault. Our dietitians will be working with the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Authority to do nutrition lessons, including cooking demonstrations in Alder Grove and Mariana Vista. Our civil engineers will be writing letters with students in Elder Creek Elementary School to improve their writing and to engage them in STEM education. Finally, our art students will be introducing the students at Washington Elementary School and Washington Neighborhood Center to the beauty and the healing power of the arts. Those children will be ready for Sac State, and we want to be ready for them. That is why the diversity, equity, and inclusion imperative is so critical. I want to keep the discussion of this imperative short because I don't want to take away from the power of the September 29th convocation, where we will fully unveil and discuss the anti-racism and inclusive campus plan. But I cannot end this speech without expressing my gratitude for over 80 outstanding, dedicated individuals, faculty, students, staff, and administrators who came together in 7 action planning groups to craft a 95-page plan with over 180 pages in appendices. They tackled anti-racism curriculum, pedagogy and assessment, anti-racism learning and literacy, cross-racial and inclusive engagement, encounters with racial stress and bias, the impact of and on the Sacramento region, institutional commitment, and mattering and affirmation. They developed 42 pages of recommendations dealing with salary disparities, curriculum and syllabi, all-in grant funding, and student and faculty retention. They even got to the granularity of ensuring that there were more choices of ethnic food on campus, and there were more murals and art that represented the diversity of our campus. This is not just a quote, "We need more faculty who look like our students" plan, or a quote, "We need more training" plan. Even though we do need more faculty who look like our students, and we do need new and better training, This is a plan about converting our university into an anti-racist university. This plan is a work plan, a plan that will not let itself languish on a shelf, a plan that will require true work and true change. Some of that work is already being done. The Division of Inclusive Excellence just a few days ago welcomed a bias response director to campus and implemented a website where faculty, staff, and students can report incidents of racial bias that don't rise to the legal definition of a harassment or discrimination. Indeed, the Division of Inclusive Excellence is poised to lead the work. A new director of faculty diversity and inclusion will begin work next month. We completed the interview process to hire a new director of inclusive excellence learning. We're hiring a new communication specialist, and UBAC approved a data collection analyst and a truth, racial healing, and trauma center director. Most importantly, we are searching for a new vice president for inclusive excellence and university diversity officer. The division has gone from a director of diversity on loan from the College of Health and Human Services to a vice president with a couple of direct reports, and now to a $1.965 million operation. In other words, we have funded what we have declared a moral imperative. We are not just paying it lip service. But the work cannot be done by inclusive excellence alone. The work of this moral imperative must be done by everyone at Sac State, by every member of the Hornet family. You've heard me before. I do believe in Sac State. I do believe in you. And I believe that the path is before us, and I believe in that path, and I believe in the train we are on. We're going to try Bruce one more time and see if we can get the land of hope and dreams up. We almost got it. Yes, all aboard this train. On this train, dreams will not be thwarted. Faith will be rewarded. The land of hope and dreams. This train, Sac State. And Sac State is number one! Stingers up! Thank you for being here.